making noise.
Well, thanks for coming today.
Probably can't answer.
We appreciate you being here. I'm Chuck Bullwood, Executive Director for Louis Vuitton Wine and Natural. I'm going to turn the discussion over to Elizabeth Kieskowski, who is a features editor for the Honolulu Advertiser and a good friend of the film festival. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank the Hawaii International Film Festival for giving me this opportunity because it's a thrill. I'm a huge Lost fan. Let me introduce the members. Last season we knew him as Henry Gale. Now we know him as Benjamin Linus. He's rather a frightening character. And Jorge Garcia. And Ian Henry Cusack. Henry Ian Cusack, who plays Desmond, and was last seen in a tie-dye T-shirt.
Want to see him in it?
Lost seems to me to be the best, most successful and logical use of a multicultural cast on television. It seems organic, you know, in ways that it doesn't so often. And I think also Lost plays to our taste for mysteries and puzzles in a really good way. I don't want to use up all the good answers.
Once we realized that we had this international airliner that went down, we started going back and going, no, we could have an Indian on that plane. We could have this on that plane. We could have, you know, so not only did we have fun when we were doing the original casting, but we had fun with the extras behind it.
I just say it's nice to hear so many different accents on TV rather than just American or just English or just, you know what I mean? It's just nice to hear different, and also it's just nice to see something else besides a cop or a medical drama. You know,
Well, and Jorge, your character.
Dogged, resilient. He just keeps going. He's not a quitter. I mean, he gets pushed down, but he's still always, he gets back up.
Maybe he drinks a little bit, but.
Wait till you read the next one.
And he says,
well, it was kind of cool that they created Hurley for me. So in the creating of the Hurley character, I kind of started with me. And at first I would say, you know, I'm a lot like Hurley, except I'm probably a better speller. And I mean, I say dude a lot, not as much as he does, but you know, we're pretty close, kind of cut from the same cloth, I think. Only I don't have the haunted or crazy elements. Yet.
Don't you love that you get to ask the questions that I think many people in the audience would ask?
I do, from season 1, when I was one who was saying, so is it a dinosaur? I love that. That's one of my favorite roles of...
What do you bring to the program?
I'm a little mystified at the roles that I've been getting because my background is the theater and I did lots of comedy, mostly throughout my career. So suddenly I find myself playing guys that are a little more dangerous. You know, and I'm not sure what that's all about. But it's sort of fun to be the guy that people are a little wary of. And Shakespeare sort of shows you the way. His great villains are always likable. They make the audience become accomplices in some way, you know. They have just enough vulnerability. They have just enough wit that we sort of enjoy their company at the same time as being a little bit horrified by their behavior. And I think Henry Gale has some of those qualities about him.
And they're crossing borders, so we've seen recent TV be made into film. Is there any chance that we'll see a Lost movie?
Oh, I would never rule that out. I mean, my gosh, I think Damon and JJ and Carlton are becoming the masters of marketing. We all had, I think, a big vision. And I think that's partly what really does a lot of it for Lost is we don't think of it in terms of small shots. And a lot of times, you know, we all complain we end up here for the close-ups, and that's important for the intensity of the scenes, but I think the vision of the show is oversized.
Yeah.
You do get the script usually very, very near the time that you shoot it, a day or 2 or 3. But it's not such a huge problem. I mean, it's not essential that you know the sort of overarching story line. If the question is, in this moment, am I in earnest or am I lying? You go ahead and play it earnestly on the assumption that if you're a liar, you're a really good liar. So believe every moment, and it'll come out just right, probably.
Well, I guess it's when you first realize that the same numbers are written on the outside of that hatch door was probably my biggest, oh my gosh moment. It's something like I was in a wheelchair before, though.
Right.
Because the original backstory I had heard from the writer when he came out to visit was that I was like a repo man who was like really good, that he could charm people out of their stuff. But it's great because recently Jack claimed to be Repo Man,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's not
exactly.
like, you know,
The
they save it somewhere. It's services in other spots.
Yeah, the island looms large as a character in the show, and the character I play, who has claimed to have lived here all his life, and yet he doesn't seem like an island kind of guy. So I have to work with this sort of, to me the island has sort of metaphysical or metaphorical importance as a place that he isn't sort of very organically connected to, a thing that is a puzzle or an obstacle to my character, and a petri dish and a laboratory in some sense, and also the island has the possibility of having been fabricated in some mysterious way. It's a complicated relationship that we have.
Yeah, I think for me the difference is the fact that when you go to London, New York, and LA, the paparazzi are like this. They're like, you see them, they're right in front of you. And in Hawaii, I don't see anybody, and then pictures just show up. In magazines. Like, they shot me with my mom walking back home from the beach, and it was in the Globe, and someone just told me that they have a picture of me coming out of Safeway, looking at that picture of me and my mom.
I don't have paparazzi. But the day of the earthquake, a strange man came up to me on Waikiki, and he said, "Wait a minute, you're Henry Gale. What are you doing out here walking around with me?"
That's a good note to end on. Well, unless you're in the world of Lost, then we don't know exactly where we are, do we? But thank you all so much for answering all these questions.